Good evening. I'm Leon Thomas, the host of Real Thoughts and Conversation. Thanks for being here. We're going to have a great conversation tonight with Tonya Henry. Tonya, welcome to the show. Welcome to Real Thoughts.
Thank you.
How's everything? How you doing? You're in Texas, right?
Oh, yeah, the great state of Texas.
The great state of Texas. I'm near beautiful Baltimore, Maryland. So, you ever heard of a restaurant called Papados?
I have.
Yeah. After the show, you could go to Papados and have them send me some Mississippi catfish pancittrain. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That's that's my favorite meal. Favorite meal. Yeah. Thanks for being here. So Tanya, listen, you and I are related. We're cousins.
yeah.
Your father and I are first cousins, right? We're first
Uh,
cousins, and we've seen each other at family reunions and so forth. And through the beauty of social media, we can connect with each other. How about that social media stuff? Being able to stay in touch with family. It's pretty cool, huh?
Yes, I love it. It's great because, there's lots of family that are away.
Yeah, yep, yep, for sure, for sure. And it's a way for us to stay in touch with each other. And one of the things that I noticed, some of your posts on Facebook, where you were talking about the many illnesses that you have,
Yes.
and I didn't know, and so I'm glad that we connected, and I could learn some things about you, and also pray for you, and ask others to pray for you as well. So why don't you take a couple of minutes and tell us about the illnesses that you have? Go ahead and take some time and describe those for us, please.
Okay, well, I have migraines for one, which was the first thing that I was diagnosed with. Then I have gastroparesis, which is a paralyzed stomach or GI tract because my esophagus and my colon are also affected. So I have that. Then I have dysautonomia, which is sort of like an umbrella term because there are several types of dysautonomia. I have primary autonomic failure, which means that I have issues throughout my autonomic nervous system, such as hypotension, hypoglycemia, body temperature dysregulation, problems with my stomach, gastroparesis, of course, dysphagia, difficulty swallowing, and all sorts of things that go along with that. I also have primary immunodeficiency, in which I take IgG through subcutaneous routes, um, and I'm on Hizentra. It is made from human plasma. So thank you for all those donors out there. And I have mast cell activation syndrome, which means my mast cells become overreactive and think that anything can be foreign at any time. I've had anaphylaxis several times, and I react to lots of medicines and things. So,
Wow,
yeah.
you just wow. That's a lot. Oh my goodness. And I see these posts, and now to hear you talk about it, and you and I spoke a couple of weeks ago, you described some of the what goes on as part of your daily routine.
Yes.
Can you give us just share with our viewers some of what you go through every day to take care of yourself?
Well, I would say that it generally starts at night because that's when I hook up my TPN. I have a port, and with that port, I do IV fluids, TPN, which is IV nutrition. It stands for total parenteral nutrition. I do IV Zofran, IV Benadryl, IV Pepsid, and usually every few months, I do IV antibiotics because due to my immune deficiency, I get sick a lot. So I do those as well. And I have to set up my TPN, which is a big 2-liter bag full of my nutrients and vitamins because I don't absorb orally. So I have to hook that up myself at night, and then it runs 16 hours. So I'm generally done around 1 or so, depending on what time I actually hook it up. So that's something that I have to do. And I change out my own port needle weekly myself. Some people have a nurse that come to their house to do it, but I do my own port needle changes. So that's a little bit of my day to day. And then weekly, I also hook up my IgG needles. It's a 3 needle set that I infuse by hooking it to my thigh. So it's sort of like doing a little mini IV, but you don't do it in a vein. It's subcutaneous into the muscle. So the medicine gets infused under the skin. And that's a weekly infusion for me.
Oh my. Now, when we talked, you also told me that you are a veteran,
Yes.
and that there may be some studies out there that show that some of the illnesses that you have may have been a result of serving overseas.
Yes, that's correct. I was diagnosed, with gastroparesis, and it was finally 2 years ago, um, service related. So that and all of my autonomic issues have been diagnosed as part of my military service from serving in the Gulf. So it's related to Gulf War syndrome.
Wow. And so you're a veteran. You're going through all of this, and one of the things that I noticed in all this, I read some about some of your travels, that sometimes you have to travel for a couple of hours to get to the right hospitals or the right doctors or whatever.
Yes.
And how often does that happen?
There were times where I was going to MD Anderson for treatment, like every 3 months. I would go see my doctor, and that's where I actually had my gastric stimulator implanted for gastroparesis. It was done down in Houston, which is about 3.5, 3 hours, 45 minutes from me. I have gone to Dallas and Richardson, Texas, to get a J tube, which is a jejunal feeding tube, which was placed in my small intestine. I no longer have it, but I had to go to Richardson, Texas, which is where my surgeon was, to get that placed. And currently, though, my doctor is in San Antonio for my stomach issues. And I go to Round Rock, Texas to Greater Austin Allergy to get all of my immunology, asthma, and mast cell care.
Oh my goodness. I just can't even imagine. I mean, I take a few medications per day, right?
Yes.
And it's hard to keep up with that.
No.
And I think about all that you have to do, everything that you're going through, and how do you organize and keep track of everything that you have to do?
Well, I think in the beginning, I believe for anyone, it would be hard to do. But when you've been doing it for years, we consider ourselves chronic illness warriors. So, you have to have some kind of a schedule. And I keep everything organized. I actually have to write down my appointments. I keep them on my calendar, in my phone, and my Google Calendar, as well as my printed appointment reminders stay on my counter so I do not forget any appointments.
Wow, that is amazing what you have to go through, and my prayers continuously go out to you, that you continue to do everything that you're doing. And I see the post on Facebook.
Mhm.
How about your family? Tell me how do they view what you're doing? I know they're, I mean, do you get assistance from them in terms of physically doing things, or how involved are they in it?
Well, my children live here in Killeen with me. My son is here, and my daughter doesn't live too far away. So, whenever I have any kind of surgical procedure, if I'm going to be unable to drive because I'm not feeling well or I'm having pain or a procedure, then one of them usually drive me to it. And lately, my son has been escorting me to all appointments. So, he's been a big help with doing things like that. And if I'm hospitalized when I get home for like that first week or so, he's there and she's there to assist in any way that I need.
Now, we're family. So I already knew the answer to that question, right? Before I asked, because we're family, and that's just what we do.
Yeah,
We help each other, right? But I
right.
thought it was important for those that may not have that type of family support, or may have someone who's going through something, to recognize how important it is that that family support system is in place, no matter if it's something with as many serious issues as you have, or if it's someone who's just as elderly that needs a ride to the doctor. Family support is important.
Mhm. It sure is. Yes.
Yeah. So now, one of the things that I saw in on social media, and you and I talked about it a couple weeks ago, is that, and it's listed right there in your name title, patient advocate. And so what I started seeing you talk about was not the trouble that you have and everything that you have to deal with, but I saw the post about you sharing your story and helping others.
Yes.
Tell us some of the things that you do.
Well, for one, I am an OLI ambassador. I assist with the HPEN, which is Home Parenteral Nutrition. So, for those who have had or are on IV nutrition and have questions about that, or questions about a feeding tube, I can assist those people. So, on the OLI website, there's a list of ambassadors. And so if anyone has any issues, they're new to being on any of one of those nutritional supports, they can reach out to an ambassador such as myself. And I also am an advocate on migraine.com. So I help moderate the Facebook page, and I write articles for migraine.com as well. And also for Rare Patient Voice, I do surveys and sometimes assist pharmaceutical companies and researchers when they want the patient perspective.
Wow, you're doing a lot. It's God bless you for doing that.
Thank you.
Folks, my name is Leon Thomas. You're watching Real Thoughts and Conversation. Our guest tonight is Tonya Henry, who has several illnesses, and we'll highlight those again real quick before the show ends. This show is a production of the Leon Thomas Group. To learn more about us and the work we do, go to theleonthomasgroup.com. Tonya, you mentioned you were doing some work with the Oli group. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah. Is there a website that folks could go to find out more about about that group?
Yes, it is. It is www.oli, which is spelled OLEY.org.
Okay. At oli.org. And you are an Oli ambassador. An
Yes.
Oli ambassador. So give us some insight into what that means. What are some real specifics on what you do there?
Well, being an OLI ambassador, it means that first of all, it's patient and caregivers who are these ambassadors. And what we do is we assist patients, either patients or parents that have questions or concerns. Like, for instance, someone may have a port placed and they can come to the site because they don't know if their port is infected. It's like, what does an infection look like? What should I be concerned with? Sometimes people are brand new to having an illness such as gastroparesis. And so they want to know, what should they look for? What is something helpful that they should know just going into having this illness? So we can give them resources such as, here's a link, check this out. Here's an article that may help you, or this is what helped me. We can give them insight as far as our own experience went. So those are just some of the generals. And on the OLI site, we can tell them also that we have a supply exchange. So if there's something that you're looking for that you can't get through insurance, you can go to the OLI website and check out the supply page. Maybe someone has donated something, or you need something. So you can go on there, look it up, If it's there, then sometimes you have to pay shipping, but you won't pay for the item. You can request or post that you have something. So it's really helpful.
Okay. All right. Great. And I have to imagine that there are many people who are looking for resources. They have questions that they need to have answered. They want to talk to others that are experiencing what they are experiencing. And through your work there, you're able to help others navigate the waters. And I can only imagine how good that makes them feel, but how reassuring and comforting it is to family members as well to know that there are people like you that can offer some assistance, that can offer some help and guidance. And wow, God bless you for doing that.
Thank you so much.
Now, how did you find out about Oli?
I think when I found out that I had gastroparesis, I actually I'm a researcher, so I like to Google stuff, and I found them online, and I believe I found them before I found the Facebook group that I'm in. But then I just joined the Oli site, and then I started. I actually ordered my first feeding tube backpack through them because I wasn't given one at the VA. So I got my backpack so I could carry my pump around with me instead of trying to do my appointments around my feeding tube nutrition.
Okay. Now, you also mentioned rare patient voice.
Yes.
Tell us some about that and your involvement there.
Well, Rare Patient Voice, I've been a member since 2019, and I've been doing surveys, but it's much more than surveys. The most exciting part for me with Rare Patient Voice is actually when I do those Zoom or telephone interviews with doctors, researchers, and pharmaceutical companies. I love it when someone actually asks the patient, what is it that we can do better for you? And that's where I come in to give my input as to what I think I want more. And I try to give them information as to what other people would want. And so that's nice. And also with Rare Patient Voice, to give you something to help you, because a lot of people do not work that have these illnesses. You do get compensated a little bit. So that's an added bonus. You know, you can help make change in the medical world and get paid for your time and your input.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that there was that type of research going on where doctors and those that work in pharmaceuticals what were actually talking to patients. I mean, again, I didn't know that was going on. So it's good to know number one that they're doing it, but
Yeah.
also that you're involved and you're able to provide import and support for everything that's going on. And migraines.com. Tell us
Yeah.
about your work there.
Well, that's something that I'm a paid person, but I'm also an advocate because we get to share our knowledge again with the migraine community. So a lot of times people will say, like for instance, today I was on the site working earlier today. There was a patient who said she was just diagnosed 6 days ago and she did not know anything. She said the medicines weren't working. So, we can give suggestions. We cannot give advice because we're not a medical professional, but you can give what has worked for you. You always suggest that someone talks to their medical doctor regarding their care. But if something has worked for you or you know of treatments that are out there, you can share that with them. And I link articles and give her, I was saying today, here's an article with different treatments and how to get diagnosed. So this may help you out. So I love doing that. Also, writing the articles for the site is an added bonus for me because I'm experimenting with writing articles now.
Yeah, yeah, and I've read a couple of them and some really good information that you're providing, some really good insight for not only those that have the illnesses that you do, but for those that don't, it gives us some understanding and further information about it. Now, your attitude toward what you're going through is just amazing. I know people that have rare conditions that have situations in their lives, and what I see from some people is oh, life is so bad, and I can kind of understand how they would say that. But your approach to this and being able to help others is just so positive and uplifting and encouraging to see you do it, and it's a blessing to others. How did you become so positive about all this?
I think in general, I've always been a very positive person. I love helping people. I can be on my way to the emergency room and I'll still be smiling. But it's just me, and I feel like everyone, you have to have some kind of a firm foundation to stand upon. And no, I have a strong belief in God, and I think that that's what's gotten me through a lot of those hard times. Just like recently when I was in the hospital in January and February, the doctors were saying horrible things like, we don't think that, you're going to make it, you're going to need dialysis, your kidneys and your liver are shutting down. And, you know, now I'm home and my numbers are back to normal. And my doctors are like, wow, I can't believe it. And you just have to keep praying, meditation, prayer, and find something that makes you positive. Find something that helps take your mind off of whatever you're going through. I love to help others. And so, I will once a year I do for the homeless, I do a hygiene drive. So that gives me pleasure. And even on my worst day, I will try to find something positive to do. I'll reach out to someone and ask, "Hey, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing well." You know, we have a connection of people that all of us talk to online. They may not talk to me, but in chronic illness groups, everyone has someone that they're close to, and they can call on them and talk to them and vent to other people, and just tell them, hey, I know you're sad today, you're not having a good day, but we know that that's not going to last all the time. There's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, but you got to push through the bad to get to the good.
Your faith in God, obviously that's a key to it, and it's also great that you're able to share your story with others that are going through something similar. See, I can't give folks direction on the illnesses because I don't have them. I haven't experienced them. I haven't experienced going through the healthcare system to say, here's how you navigate those waters, right? But you have. You can speak intelligently about what needs to be done. You can speak intelligently about what to look for in an infection and some of the other things that you talked about. And you are such a blessing to so many people. And I pray that you continue to do that, that God gives you the strength to help many. And I also just have to think that there are many folks that you've helped that probably haven't said, wow, Tonya, you've helped me, but I'm sure they have been helped by what you're doing. You as a patient advocate, I could just see how your communication skills are great and helps so many people. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So Tanya, we want to have a part two to this. We'd like to invite one of your doctors on that can talk more about what your illnesses are, to let our viewers know more detail about what they are, and maybe even share some information about how the work that you're doing is helpful to others. So hopefully, I'm looking forward to having you back with a doctor next week, and even without the doctor. How about coming back next week and let's go a little deeper into this?
Yes.
All right, great. Looking forward to having you here. And the folks, that'll be next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, April 26th, we'll go live at 8:30 Eastern Time. That's 7:30 Central right here on Real Thoughts and Conversation. My name is Leon Thomas, the host of Real Thoughts and Conversations. To learn more about our show and other things that we do, particularly with our portfolio creation and development program for college students, go to theleonthomasgroup.com. Tonya, again, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Folks, I'm Leon Thomas. You just watched another episode of Real Thoughts and Conversation. I'd like to thank our producer, Dr. J, in the background, one of the best producers in the business, for making sure things run smoothly. I'm Leon Thomas. Thanks for watching Real Thoughts and Conversation.